Hey everyone and welcome back. This is Matt and Steve. We are bringing you MST Season 2. This is Group 4 and this is the winners match between the two winners of the last two games. So Lita lost to FireFist.
What?
Yes, it's true. And FireFist now is going to be playing Best because Best beat Piano. So it's going to be Best versus FireFist and PVZ. And it's going to be on Byzantium III, it looks like. So here we go.
I will apologize to all the FireFist fans that are listening there. I kind of dogged on FireFist. But I'm going to say with that last game, Lita lost the game more than FireFist won the game. Although I do have to say that attack, the FireFist first attack with Mutalisk was really well planned out. And I think that was kind of the crippling blow that really threw Lita off for the rest of the game and really crippled his economy. So we are seeing cross positions here on Byzantium, that of course being Best, and FireFist of course being the Zerg at the top left here. This is a map that is barely a Zerg favorite over Protoss, but what is that, like 12 games played? So not very many games as far as that goes. Of course, as always, our stats are not spoiled, so any stats we give you guys are not counting the games that you are seeing right now.
Well, and Team Liquid stats aren't always 100% accurate. A lot of times, they don't include prelim games or like offline games and stuff like that. So, stats can be a little skewed. But overall, I think this map is a pretty balanced map. I really think it's pretty good for Terran, at least because you have a lot of higher up advantage. Like around your base, you're able to get 3 bases pretty easily and hold them with siege tanks. So that makes it pretty good for Terran. Although with the different ramps coming up and down, you're able to surrounding their players pretty good. And it looks like, I think we saw a 9 pull from Zerg player. Yeah, it looks like FireFist 9 pull gas, did you say, or was it an overpull?
No, it looks like yeah, he went for a 9 pull and then did the gas trick, extractor trick to get an extra probe. For those who don't know, that is you build an extractor with one of the drones, then you get another probe because drone, because the psi has been relieved, and then you just cancel the extractor. That took way too long to explain. All right, using a classic trick there, we are seeing a early pull, so we might see some early aggression here from FireFist, which may not work out because of the cross positions. Now, FireFist noticed he was sending his Overlord to the right when he first started this attack, or started this plan, so he was probably hoping that Best would be at the right, which would be closer, which would be a little bit more susceptible to a kind of a quick ling attack. But it looks like because of that, he's actually focusing on some drones as well. So kind of odd. Didn't go for the standard 6 lings in this.
Well, the good thing about it is that you could get like ling speed, but he hasn't got his gas up at all yet or anything like that. So I think he changed his mind maybe.
I think so too,
A little weird that he hasn't got his gas up. Best is totally fine though. He's got 2 cannons up before he's got his Nexus down, so he was able to. Well, actually, he was getting those cannons up already because he didn't scout. Basically, as a Protoss player, when you fast expand, you put the pylon down and you pretty much put the forge down, and if you can see that the other player isn't being aggressive, you can go straight to a Nexus, or if you see that they get their pull down early, you can get those cannons in first. But if you don't have that scouting information, the safest thing to do is just do what Best did and just get cannons down. So Gateway finally going to go up, which means producing units is going to be a little slower for Best because he's just now getting his Gateway up. But actually, it's pretty standard for Protoss, and it looks like third base going down for FireFist, so he is going to get 3 hatcheries and maybe go into that higher hatchery build where you get 4 or 5 hatcheries and get a lot of Hydras. Is the typical build we usually see against Protoss.
Well, he's definitely, I'm assuming he's going to go to Mutalisk here. He got that third base at the 12 o'clock position because that way he has 3 gases versus just going for the quicker and more easily defendable expansion to the right of his main base. So I'm assuming that's what he's going to try to go, kind of a tech build to tech up to lair, get Mutalisk out, and possibly try to do harass, although he may not be going for Mutalisk at all. Of course, we've seen a lot of players go for that classic kind of Sauron 5-base Hydralisk build against Protoss players, which has been pretty effective lately. And one thing I was going to mention, okay, it doesn't look like, you may have noticed before that Best actually had that probe kind of hidden at the top right or top left for quite some time, which was actually a really brilliant move because he waited until the tech choice or until the kind of strategy was made, and that way he can just move it around as much as he wants. And FireFist looks like he's not able to micro around it. So Best getting a great look. FireFist having no idea what Best is doing at the time. As you mentioned, Best did a great job with the Wallin. You know, the difference between 1, 2, or 3 cannons in your Wallen really can make a big difference as far as the Protoss early game. So he decided to play safe and just go with 2, which is kind of more standard. We have seen other players kind of get a little trickier and just try to go with 1 to try to save as much money as possible, but it's always about the early game and cutting corners, which I think is something that either I think it's Diggity that had mentioned that, and was, you know, it's always about cutting corners in the game, and I think Collar mentioned it as well, so I don't want to repeat it. But we do see that Best has lost the scout in there, although he already saw the Spire going down, so as we thought, it does look like FireFist is going to go for Mutalisk, and with his economy right now, he is going to be well off, although he has not gotten a gas at his third base.
Exactly.
So it's not going to be that much different.
Well, he's probably not going Mutalisk, because otherwise he would have got a second gas already. Yeah. So only 1 gas up for the Zerg player.
He didn't get a second?
He hasn't even got a second gas.
Okay, then I didn't see
So
that.
probably just going to build that for Scourge, which is just to counter the Corsairs. And Best was getting his +1 pretty early on his Forge, so it looks like he is wanting to get that quick upgrade and maybe get some Zealots out quickly, but it's not like a speed lot rush or anything like that because he hadn't have his Citadel up yet. So pretty much just totally standard for Best right now. There's a Citadel now. First Corsair coming out, going to head straight to the main and want to see what's going on, although he pretty much already knows what's going on. I think I'm not sure if he's seen the 3rd hatch yet, but he can pretty much assume just by the lack of gas and everything what he's going to do. And there's the 4th and 5th hatchery and the Hydralisk Den. So indeed he is going to do that 5-hatch Hydra build. Basically the Spire just goes up so you can get a couple Scourge out. So very standard game that we're seeing here. The only thing non-standard was the opening from FireFist, which was kind of strange and pointless, honestly. He should have just 12-hatched, but instead he got that early pull. It looks like Templar Archives is going up for Best. So again, very, very standard from Best. He's going to get a cannon. Looks like Corsair is just missing those Scourge and another pair of 2 Scourge. FireFist not on the ball really watching that, so it looks like they're finally falling, but that Corsair... Oh, actually, but Best not on the ball. Gonna take 1 shot. He is gonna get an eyeful, though, of the 2 bases, see the lack of the 3rd gas, and pretty much just see the hatcheries going up, so he's gonna pretty much know he's against Hydras. He might want to get some more cannons in his front to protect from that, but honestly, there's such a long distance that Best is gonna feel pretty secure. Oh, and it looks like, an attempted a sandwich, but not quite Jaedong-like. It looks like that Scourge might be able to catch up another Scourge here. He's really trying.
Oh, FireFist.
FireFist trying, but fire failing, and that's what's happening.
Oh, that was amazing. Well, tell me, Steve, if you're in Best position right now and you know that your opponent's going Soren Zerg on a map like this, now we do see some Zealots coming out, possibly trying to cripple one of the bases, although we saw Sunkens going out, and here come the Mutalisks, and so he is getting a bunch of Mutalisks, which I guess he just had saved up enough gas for to get that. Now, I don't think those Mutalisks are going to do a ton necessarily, because we do see the cannons going up, and they have been going up in the base. So the bases are going to be fairly secure in a moment here, although we are going to see a few, FireFist unfortunately not going for any probes, which he should have been doing. Those Mutalisks are going to take quite a bit of damage here. But, wow, look at this. Best just ravaging through FireFist base, and I don't know, I think that's the 12 o'clock base right there that he was ravaging. Sorry to cut off the question to you, Steve, but we actually have some action going on here, and defeating a ton of probes there. And, wow, FireFist able to take out the cannon, so I was wrong. 3 is not enough.
Here's the thing. FireFist ignored the Zealots, and it was really a risky move. Either he didn't see the Zealots or he just ignored them. Basically, the reason Best sent those Speedlots out was to do the damage he did with those drones, but either that or just bring the Mutalisks back, because he knew he didn't have that many cannons in his base.
Right.
Actually, I'm not even sure if Best knew there were Mutalisks coming, so he might not even have known, but if he knew they were there, sending the Zealots is a way to make FireFist bring his Mutalisks back to defend his base, but FireFist didn't do that, and because of that, it paid off a little bit because he was able to do damage to Best base, but at the same time, he lost so many drones in his own base that I don't really think it was worth it, although he has made Best mine off of 1 base for quite some time now, so maybe it was worth it, actually, in the long run. If you think about it, basically Best was mining off of 1 base, and the Zerg player is mining off of 2 bases, so it came out pretty even, but it's hard to say who had the advantage there, but it's kind of weird now that FireFist just has these 5 or 6 mutas that probably aren't going to get much done. We see that Best now has a couple of Archons and a few more Corsairs, so that's the end of that Mutalisk tirade. And to answer your question earlier, I think you're just asking, well, what would you do as a Protoss?
Right.
Well, I'd get a bunch of Templar out is what I
That's
would
what
do.
I was thinking, yeah,
and that's what
yeah.
Best did. He had to morph those Templar into Archons because of the Mutalisk threat, but otherwise he would be using it for Storm. And it looks like FireFist making a little bit of tech switch here. He does have Lurkers. Best actually continuing to produce Corsairs. Does have quite a few Corsairs. Just now getting an Observatory. So actually that Observatory timing is pretty good. And it looks like he should see those Lurkers coming on the way down to his base. But by the time they get there, he should have an observer out. Either way, he's got cannons in his front to defend. So he doesn't have to worry too much about the Lurkers, although they can probably range that gateway. It looks like we'll see if he just tries to do that. I don't think he can make a full-on frontal attack with just those 3 Lurkers because there's a couple cannons and Archons, but he is going to range that gateway. Yes, does range gateway. One interesting thing is that Best doesn't have his 3rd base